Yo! Welcome, Alien Armada, Episode 8! Welcome very much to the stream. Hello, how are you doing? How are you this Sunday? It is June 26th. This is Episode 8 of Alien Armada. Speedy, Turtle, KTG, Finn, Justin, Husky, oh well, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining my show. I'm your host, Nate Alyn, and today I am going to be diving into Wendigoon content. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a Tub hat. I feel like Tub and Wendigoon have had very interesting rises on the platform of YouTube, and they really blew up around the same time. I started watching Wendigoon's conspiracy theory videos when it got recommended to me in the comment section, or in my recommended section while I was playing video games, and I started binging all of his content. I could not get enough. He is very oddly, like, a very strange teacher. That's the best way to put it. I feel like he's the most comforting teacher on the platform that really teaches about very strange topics, fringe topics that you're really not going to get anywhere else. So I love him. He's amazing. His content's incredible. And I got used to just listening to his voice on repeat, or just listening to his voice in a very long form fashion while I played video games. So I'm really excited to watch this video today. Not a Human, welcome. Alter, welcome. I'm going to be diving into his very long video about FNAF. Here we go. This isn't clickbait at all, my friends. This is not clickbait. This is real. This is something that y'all have been requesting for me to do for the longest time, okay? Y'all have been asking me to do this. So I'm very excited to finally get into this. Beetle, welcome. Anez, welcome. The Golden Piglin, welcome. This video is an hour and 26 minutes long. Oh, sorry. It's an hour and 21 minutes long. This is a hefty video. Now, this should honestly explain everything there is to know about the FNAF story. This should cover everything. This has been suggested to me so many freaking times, and I'm finally going to dive into it. So I'm not going to waste your time anymore. If you enjoy this video, you enjoy me reacting to Wendigoon's content, and also Wendy, if you happen to watch this, Wendy, I apologize, okay? I love you, man, but you're hard to reach, and I'm not trying to steal your content, okay? I'm just trying to react to it. My fan base has been telling me to check this out for a long time, and I'm just a big fan of yours, okay? And I know you put a lot of work and effort into this. If you haven't seen this full video, the link will be in the description below. Please go support Wendigoon, okay? Please go support this creator. He is amazing, okay? And we're going to go ahead and get into it. The Alien Armada supports you, Wendy. All right, let's go.
So, I'm doing the thing. Unlike most of the horror series that I cover, I feel like today's horror series needs no introduction. Five Nights at Freddy's has quickly become one of the most popular video game IPs ever. Five Nights at Freddy's currently has 9 games in its main series, as well as over a dozen books written about it and countless fan games. Not only that, but even people—
Not y'all singing Bite of 87. Oh no.
Who hate the games have to admit that
I know who's responsible for the Bite of 87. I know where and when it happened.
it was probably
That
the
song's
most
too catchy.
impactful indie horror series of all time. And the craziest part about it is, to this day, no one really knows what happened. Like, if you play through the games, it's very clear that there is a story happening in the background. However, the gameplay always takes center stage. And despite the countless Reddit threads and YouTube videos made on the topic, there still doesn't seem to be a clear answer of what happened in the games themselves. So I'm here to
Say
throw my hat in
cheese? Why? Are you taking a picture of me not a human? Are you taking a picture?
the ring and present to you what I believe to be the story of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. See, this video started out, I just wanted to cover the FNAF VHS tapes, because a couple people, specifically Squimpus McGrimpus,
Yep.
which is a funny name, has made fantastic horror set within the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, but taking its own story direction with its own characters and events. However, after getting all of my research done for that, and then thinking how I would describe it.
Am I going to react to more FNAF songs in the future? Yes. Yes, I am. I would love to react to more FNAF music. I probably should dedicate a whole episode to just diving into different FNAF music, because there's a lot. There's a lot of FNAF music out there.
To you all, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to someone who wasn't
You're the worst, not a
familiar
human.
with the Five Nights series. So I asked myself, what is the minimal amount of information I need to tell you about the Five Nights series in order for you to understand the VHS tapes? And that eventually devolved into me breaking down the entire story with all of the characters and major events. So I'm doing great. However, I'm only partially joking on that, because I do believe that the Five Nights at Freddy's storyline is a very interesting story that deserves to be told. However, if you're familiar with the series at all, then you probably know that the problem with telling the story is the story itself. See, the story of the game takes place across the first 7 entries. The games in chronological order, or at least my chronological...
Yo! Thank you very much for the Wono Husky.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
1999 Wono off the gate. Thank you very much, sir. We love Husky Owo around here, okay? Husky Owo with the Wono. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate you, man. I always appreciate you supporting the channel. You don't have to do it, but thank you.
Logical order, because we can't even agree on when the games happened. But in my chronological order, it goes 4, 2, 1, 5, 3, 6, 7.
Oh.
Yeah. And the reason that it's so confusing for newcomers to the series to try to figure out what's going on is because anytime you search something like Five Nights at Freddy's Theory, you're greeted with videos from 5 years ago, whenever the 3rd game was out, so we didn't know the events in the 4th game were going to happen. But then the theories from the 4th game didn't know that the events of the 5th game were going to happen.
That's what it is. That's the problem. What's up, Bane? Welcome to the stream. Bane, actually, I remember you made I know that you edited us playing some Fortnite. So I want to check that out. We're going to have to check that out on the next Fortnite episode. So don't let me forget, Bane7. If y'all didn't check it out already, I think Bane7 recorded us playing some Fortnite and uploaded to his channel and edited. So if y'all want to go check that out, please go do so, because we're going to get into that the next Fortnite episode. Right now, this episode's all about FNAF.
Happen. So people kept trying to glue together a puzzle because all the pieces weren't out yet. But now I, in the future, with the privilege of hindsight, can put together the puzzle the way that I believe it was always meant to be viewed. And I'm going to do that in a kind of controversial way. I want this video to serve, again, not only as my take on the timeline for those out there who are a fan of the series, but also as an introductory point so that new people coming in are able to view all the information and better understand the story. And when you look at the entire series as one narrative, I think it becomes far more interesting and far more terrifying. So in order to achieve both of those ends, and again putting emphasis on the fact that this is a cool story that deserves to be told, I am simply not going to explain myself. At least not entirely.
There ain't no time for it. I feel it. There's literally no time. Look at this, all right? This stream has been elapsing for a bit, right? We're only 3 minutes and 37 seconds in. If I stop every few minutes to just explain what I'm thinking in the moment, we're going to be here for 5 to 6 hours.
Explain myself. Like, several of the things on this board go against the majority of the community's interpretation of what
my
happened.
gosh,
So whenever I have a
really?
real controversial take,
Whoa.
I'm going to explain that. But like over here, I have one of William's
Maybe this is why y'all wanted me to see this.
children listed as being named Evan. In order for you to understand the story, I don't need to sit here for 10 minutes and tell you about we got the name Evan because in the survival book, which is an accompany book for the games, they found a series of numbers on.
I literally have never heard of an Evan. I've literally never heard of an Evan Afton. I've never heard of it. Like, my mind is already getting blown. Who the heck is Evan Afton? What? Evan is the crying child? Is that the name of the crying child? Evan? They really figured out the name of the crying child? Holy crap, we're gonna go. This is gonna be good already. I'm only 4 minutes in. I didn't even know that Evan was even a thing. Evan is a fan name. I thought his name was Chris. It's the speculative name.
One page and then added them together by the page number at the bottom and then went over to a letter grid and input those values.
It's secretly Evan MC Gaming. All right, Speedy, you win.
Because if you're not familiar with the series, that's how we found out everything. And again, while I think stuff like that is cool, more people, at least currently, are focused on if his name's Evan or not, rather than the entire plot and story of what
Docile,
happened.
I'm doing
I think
great.
that the latter is far more interesting. So I know this has been a long introduction, but there's a lot to explain. As always, there's going to be timestamps in the description for what I'm describing, but I'm going to go through the timeline, or my opinion of the timeline, for the Five Nights at Freddy's video game series, as well as talk about the characters. And then from there, we will begin talking about the VHS tapes and the other YouTube horror shorts based around Five Nights at Freddy's, because I think they're really cool. And if any of this sounds cool to you, stick around after the ad, as we're going to get into pretty much the entirety of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. But before you listen to me ramble for an absurd length of time, let's make sure you're listening the right way with today's sponsor,
Raycon. I knew it. As soon as he said, you got to be listening the right way, I knew it was Raycon. Raycon is a very consistent partner of the Wendigoon channel. And I think it might be one of his first major sponsors. Because I remember when I was watching his channel in the beginning, first off, y'all need to know, I didn't come into his channel until he probably was at maybe 20 or 30,000 subs, and he wasn't getting any sponsors with his conspiracy theory icebergs. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened though, because somewhere around the time he was recording the episodes, he just started exploding. All right, his channel literally just exploded, and you could not go anywhere without seeing, like, I couldn't go anywhere without seeing his face on my recommended.
With over 48,000 5-star reviews, rubber up
I'm gonna skip past it. I'm gonna skip past the ad, Wendy. Not because I don't love Wendigoon. It's not because I don't love you, man. And it's not because I don't love Raycon. Because I've never used them. But we need to get into the meat. We need to get into the meat and potatoes of the video. That's the only reason why I'm skipping.
Thank you for watching. The first thing to understand about the Five Nights at Freddy's series is that at its core, it's the story of two people. And those two people are William Afton and Henry Emily. Henry and William were business partners, and they went in as partners together on a new branch of children's entertainment. This new style of children's entertainment would be demonstrated
on their first business venture
together, a restaurant known as Fredbear's Family Diner. With later entries of the series, as many people have pointed out, you could think of the restaurants as a sort of Chuck E. Cheese establishment. The kind of places that would have singing animatronics, as well as arcade games and pizza parties for children of all ages.
Real talk, crack, like cursed cursed, not cracked, cursed. Sorry, I used the wrong word. Cursed places. Chuck E. Cheese is one of those places where you realize that it's fun as a kid, as like an idea and a concept. And then you go there and you experience it and you're running through the ball pit and you realize one of the kids pooped in the ball pit. And then your whole experience is ruined. You never want to go to Chuck E. Cheese ever again. That's literally what happens, okay? You're young, you look around, you see Chuck E. Cheese, you think it's fun because of all the bright colors and everyone having a good time. You see all the kids running around crazy, and you see the coins and you see the prizes, and you're like, this looks fun. And then you're there for about an hour and a half, and you look down and you look up, all you smell is crap, and you see chaos. And the floor is sticky, the kids are stupid, and you quickly realize you're not meant to be there. Okay, you're not meant to. That was my personal experience at Chuck E. Cheese, right? It was terrible. Okay, it was terrible. I've only been to Chuck E. Cheese 3 times, and the first time I went there because I wanted to. The next 2 times was because I was dragged. I was dragged there, okay, for a birthday party.
However, at least in the beginning, Fredbear's wasn't like that. It was a much smaller establishment that boasted 2 animatronics. The down-to-earth, homey nature of it is even present in the name of Fredbear's Family Diner. It certainly seems like a passion project, not only in the name and very nature of a children's entertainment business, but also in the attitudes of the 2 owners. From everything we see later in the series, it seems like Henry was the business and managerial side of the partnership, while William was more interested in the day-to-day operations and specifically the construction of the animatronics. What made these animatronics unique, and the thing that set their business apart from other competitors, was the addition of something William dubbed as spring lock suits. The core idea behind a spring lock suit is that it is initially a normal animatronic. However, if someone were to twist the gear on the back of the costume, the animatronic parts would slip to the sides and allow a worker to step inside of the animatronic itself and use it as a costume. Whereas at other establishments, the children would see an animatronic on stage and then a worker would come out to serve them pizza in a kind of dollar store mascot version of the costume. At Fredbear's Family
Showbiz Pizza? I've never heard of that. Interesting, Soul Alter. Did I say hi to you, Jack? Hello, Jack. Hello, and yo, Frost Knight, welcome to the stream. I remember you. I remember you, Frost Knight. Welcome to the stream.
Family Diner, they could watch the animatronics get off stage themselves and come play with the kids. It seems like in the beginning that was part of the goal for William, to keep the magic alive in the mind of a child. And in the beginning, it seems that they had such humble beginnings that William and Henry were the people running the costumes themselves. Despite being owners, they would take the time to step into their own respective spring-lock suits and go play and entertain the children. Henry would pilot the restaurant's namesake, the Fredbear suit itself, whereas William would slip into the secondary mascot of the business, a golden rabbit costume which would later be known to the community as Spring Bonnie. Perhaps part of this dedication to the project came in the form of their own children. William having 3 children himself, Elizabeth, Michael, and Evan, and Henry having 1 daughter by the name of Charlie. I know that in the books it mentions Henry has a son as well. However, he's never mentioned anywhere in the games. So again, I'm just talking the games. He doesn't exist up here. Something that I want to mention really quick on this timeline is if an event is inside of a red box, that is a definite year that that event happened. There's not a lot of surefire times we get in the series, so the few that you see with the red box are times we know this happened on this date. The blue boxes are more so guesstimates. In other words, the thing I'm about to talk about
What's up, random guy?
says 1980, but it could have also been 81 or late 70s, or the year doesn't really matter. 1980 is just a guess. Looking at the timeline, we can see that William and Henry started Fredbear's Family Diner around 1970. And then, thanks in no small part to the
Yo, everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. We're 10 minutes in. We are really slowly going through the complete Five Nights at Freddy's story explained. Welcome very much to the stream. I appreciate you being here.
The dedication of the owners themselves, as well as the invention of spring lock suits, A decade later, they are able to expand their brand, as around 1980, William opens Afton Robotics, and William and Henry continue to expand the business itself with Fazbear Entertainment, which becomes a sort of industrial chain of Freddy Fazbear restaurants. Things were going great for the two. Henry was continuing to manage the brand as it was expanding, and William continued to create more odd and interesting robotic figures. One of these inventions that we see in the games is a small Fredbear plush that seems to have a camera inside of it, as well as a series of animatronics later dubbed Fun
Wow, I like how he connected that. I love how he's connecting that.
Time animatronics that it seems William was building during this time. Everything was going great, and it seemed that nothing would stop the pair from accomplishing great things in the realm of children's entertainment. That was until the accident that happened in 1983.
Oh, here we go. Not the bite of 87, okay? Well, then where it happens. All right, look. No, it's not the bite of 87. The bite of 83. Okay? The bite of 83.
For whatever reason, it seems that Evan was particularly terrified of the animatronics his father was building. And no one's really certain why. People who have gathered information from the books have speculated that perhaps William was purposefully making his child afraid of the animatronics because William knew that they were dangerous. Because, you know, animatronic suits that have like wires and gears holding the animatronic pieces from flying back into place and impaling you, it's called foreshadowing, would be dangerous to go around, especially if William is building them in his house. From what we see in future games, it even seems that William had put cameras throughout his house so that while he was working on his animatronics, he could monitor exactly what his son was doing. In the meantime, Evan's older brother, Michael, began to torment Evan over his fear of these
Michael Afton, aka It's Video. It's Video. It's Video is Michael Afton, okay?
creatures. See, at this point, the brand had extended from not
Welcome,
only
Ocean Castle.
Fredbear's Family
Hello.
Diner, but there was also Fredbear and Friends.
Who here has snacks? I have Sour Patch Kids. I have snacks. I have snacks for the occasion. We're diving into Wendigoon FNAF. He's explaining FNAF 4 right now. If y'all were wondering where we're at. And I am literally struggling to open a freaking Sour Patch candy. Alright.
And there were several other mascots that would stand on stage along with Fredbear. One of these was a character by the name of Foxy. So Michael would wear a Foxy mask and begin tormenting his brother because he thought it was funny. William didn't seem to mind this, perhaps even encouraging it, as he saw it as another way to keep his son safe. The events of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, which again according to me is the earliest game in the timeline, followed the nightmares of young Evan Afton. The reason the animatronics look so over-the-top creepy and terrifying is because these aren't real animatronics. These are the nightmare imaginations of a young child who's afraid of his father's creations. And Evan is spending these sleepless nights trying to evade these creatures of his own imagination.
Alright, this right here is where it gets a little controversial. I can say it right now, because this is where this is like more of a theory, right? Even though a lot of people would probably say that this is something that is pretty on point, and probably a lot of people would agree with his assessment, it's definitely an opinion.
That is until the end of the week, whenever Afton and his family go to Fredbear's Family Diner. While there, Michael and his friends,
they are literally called Nightmare. That is fair.
All wearing the mascots' faces, begin to torment Evan and make him get closer and closer to the animatronics themselves. Until Michael makes a joke that Evan wants to give Fredbear a kiss, to which the boys put Evan into Fredbear's mouth, and whenever the animatronic bites down...
Man.
Evan doesn't die yet, at least not immediately.
Whoa.
His family rushes him to the hospital where he remains comatose for the next couple days. In the final levels of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, it's possible when looking back at the bedside to see things like a hospital IV bag or flower pot. Not only that, but the nightmares within the final nights of Five Nights at Freddy's 4 transition from being the general different animatronics from the restaurant to just nightmarish apparitions of Fredbear himself. While Evan is lying
That last one was cursed. That last picture was cursed.
in a hospital bed, we hear Michael tell Evan that he's sorry and ask for his forgiveness. Until the Fredbear plush itself begins to speak to Evan. As established earlier, this is one of William Afton's camera plushies, so it's safe to assume that this is William speaking to his son. In his final moments, we hear William say that it's going to be okay and that he's going to put Evan back together before everything fades out and Evan seemingly passes away. Now, if you're a big aficionado of the series, you may disagree with that placement in the story. However, this, as well as the events that happen directly afterwards, are so debated, and there's so many different options of when this happened, or this happened before this, or blah, blah, blah. But
what's up, Sloth? Update on my braces again. They suck less today. Also, hi, Nate. I was just watching your bids. Yo, welcome to the stream, and I'm glad that it's getting a little easier for you with the braces. That is definitely something that a lot of people complain about, is try and get used to eating, getting used to just feeling them in your mouth and things like that. But just know, your teeth are going to look amazing, okay? Once those braces come off, you're going to be looking at everybody else with jacked up teeth. You're going to be thinking, why didn't y'all do that? Okay? So, there you go. Be proud of that. It's not easy.
again, as a story, this makes the most sense to me
Nate,
as the catalyst that began everything.
Here you go.
William, a man who
Here you
wanted
go.
to entertain children.
Hold on. You can have it. I hope you just took a bite. Look, I'm sharing.
And managed to do so for decades, began his mad descent when one of his children used one of William's own creations to kill his other child. And then in that father's desperation, he begins experiments and procedures to try to maintain the soul of a child. See, that's where the horror comes from. For those of you who may have not known anything else about the Five Nights at Freddy's games, you've probably heard it has to do with dead children possessing animatronics. And while the rules of it aren't explicitly laid clear, at least not in the video games themselves, it seems that if a child is killed by an animatronic or a piece of their body is put into that animatronic after death, that their soul possesses the animatronic itself.
Husky, I hope you enjoy the Mexican restaurant, bro.
You can essentially think of it as a haunt or a haunted house. If someone dies in a derelict mansion, then they haunt that derelict mansion. If someone dies and their body is put inside of an animatronic, then their spirit possesses that animatronic. And that is exactly what happens here. While we do not know the details of how or why or what happened, either because Fredbear killed Evan or potentially afterwards, William put pieces or all of Evan's body into Fredbear, Evan's spirit possessed the Fredbear animatronic. See, now the color coding makes sense. This wasn't just a Sunday school teacher gimmick to make the letters look cool. It had a purpose, because now...
Oh yeah, and I knew him writing William Afton in purple was on purpose.
Evan is the spirit of Fredbear.
That was
I don't know
obvious.
if you can see the Fredbear good. If I turn the lights off, the reflection isn't there. So yeah, Fredbear is Evan, at least for now. I'm not sure how, perhaps just being around Fredbear and seeing signs that his child was still inside of the suit, or maybe even some kind of weird science that William applied to the suit itself whenever.
Crocheting is hard because it takes dexterity. Okay, especially me personally being a man with big grubby fingers, that's what makes crocheting hard. I used to crochet with my mom. All right, we've crocheted some things together, and I will tell you right now, even as a child, it was difficult for me to figure that out.
Whenever he made it. Either way, it seems that William figured out his son Evan was inside of the Fredbear suit. As you could imagine, not only the death of William's child, but now his child being trapped in a suit
I
of his own
appreciate you
invention
joining, Josiah.
changed William's life forever. It seems that from here, William wanted to better understand what had happened to Evan. So he began to modify the aforementioned Funtime animatronics with the express purpose of trapping another child so that he could figure out how the whole soul possession works. His primary contender in this being an animatronic known as Circus Baby. Circus Baby was specifically designed with a giant claw inside of its chest cavity, as well as sensors that would always calculate and determine how many people were currently in the room. He did this with the intent of Circus Baby managing to get a child alone all by themselves so that its claw could then come out and grab the child before dragging it into its chest cavity to be killed.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
This is...
Oh my lord. That is an absolutely disastrous design. Lord.
Is, at least according to my timeline, the beginning of William's evil and murderous intent. It seems that the death of his own child pushed William to such extreme lengths that he was now willing to kill another kid in order to either see what happened to his son or perhaps even find a way to bring him back. During the construction of Circus Baby, William's daughter Elizabeth was in love with it, probably because it was an animatronic that looked like a young girl and had the ability to serve ice cream. On the opening day of a new Freddy Fazbear sister location known as Circus Baby's Pizza World, Elizabeth managed to get away from her father and go see Circus Baby all by herself.
Yep.
The Circus Baby animatronic, calculating that Elizabeth was the only one in the room,
We all know what happens next. We all know what happens next.
put out a piece of ice cream to serve her before grabbing her and bringing her into her chest, to which Elizabeth was killed.
Literally got scooped.
Did you know that I was on stage once? It wasn't for very long, only one day. I would always count the children. I'm not sure why. I was always acutely aware of how many there were in the room with me. There were 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. Something happened when there was 1.
Welcome
A
back.
little girl, standing by herself. I was no longer myself, and I stopped singing. My stomach opened, and there was ice cream. I couldn't move, at least, not until she stepped closer. There was screaming for a moment, but only for a moment. I still hear her sometimes. Why did that happen?
We're never shown exactly how William reacted to this, although I imagine this is never what he wanted. In Five Nights at Freddy's 5, also known as Sister Location, Elizabeth mentions many times that her father tried to keep her away, and she specifically went against his will in order to go see Circus Baby by herself. It seems that he didn't want Circus Baby to kill his daughter Elizabeth, however that's exactly what happened.
So, and that's the thing, right? Because people, we can paint William to be an evil person all we want. But I've seen the narrative that this was part of it too, right? Like this wasn't an accident. This was part of what he wanted for some weird reason. And it really, to me, makes zero sense. Not if you're someone like him who is willing to sacrifice as much as he is trying to sacrifice to bring his children back. This is one of the last things he'd want. This is literally one of the last things he'd want.
Despite this, however, his plan seemed to work, and the soul of Elizabeth began to possess the animatronic known as Circus Baby. Now, whenever Evan died, it was simply seen as an accident. While Michael and his friends caused the death of Evan, they were children as well, and it could be seen as a bullying incident gone wrong. However, when Elizabeth disappeared, that raised a lot more questions. We're
Speedy, what type of timing you on? What you doing in chat?
told in the games that the sister location known as Circus Baby's Pizza World, again the place where Elizabeth was killed by Circus Baby, we are told that it was closed due to gas leaks. This obviously being a cover-up for this event here. However, there is no way this could have happened without Henry knowing. He was essentially the acting CEO over Fazbear's Entertainment, and there's no way that they would close down the brand new location on the first day due to gas leaks without him knowing any better. What I think happened, and this is supported by things that happened shortly after this, is that Henry found out what William was up to. Whenever William sees that Henry has created a robot whose sole purpose is to bring in children and then kill them, it probably raised a lot of red flags. We're never told this in-game, but perhaps at the same time, Henry also saw that William was trying to rebuild his son Evan, or put Evan back into the Fredbear costume, or whatever "I will put you back together" means.
That's the secret I've been hiding this whole time, Bane. I'm actually Freddy Fazbear. And you can tell because in the thumbnail for this video, you see Freddy and you see Wendigoon. And where Freddy is in the thumbnail is normally where I put myself. So there you go. That was the reveal, okay? That was the secret I've been trying to hide this whole time. It's me. It's me. All right? I'm Freddy. Okay? There. It's me. I've been trying to tell y'all this whole time. That's why it kept saying it's me. All right?
Either way, Henry was so disgusted, at least by what he saw with Circus Baby, that he kicked William out of the company. Potentially, Henry never alerted the authorities because, for one, him and William had been friends for at least 10 years, and two, William's actions has caused the death of his own daughter. So perhaps Henry saw that as punishment enough. Either way, Henry didn't alert the authorities, but he did kick William out of the business. There is a scene within a minigame in Five Nights at Freddy's 6, also known as Pizzeria Simulator. The minigame's called Midnight Motorist, and there is a part in it whenever you're playing as a little sprite that is believed to be William Afton. Again, everything in this entire series is entirely circumstantial. And while playing as William Afton, you walk up to a building called Junior's. Now, a place called Junior's is never mentioned anywhere else in the series. However, general consensus is that Junior's is the first offshoot location of Fredbear's Family, which is a place known as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So whenever William goes to the door of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the worker at the front door says, "You know you can't be here, don't make this any harder than it has to be." Which means the person at the front door, either Henry or an employee of Henry.
You said the Midnight Motorist song is so good. It's such a banger. Alright, I'll add that to the list of FNAF songs I gotta check out. You said Midnight Motorist is amazing. Okay.
Henry recognizes William and says, "You can't be here, don't make this worse than it has to be." A lot of people say that minigame takes place during the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. However, I don't agree due to something I'll mention in a minute. In the rest of that Midnight Motorist minigame, it seems that William goes home.
See, yeah, Keiki plays. That's the reason why so much of this is considered speculative. That's why, because these colors don't make sense, right? Why would an Afton be orange or yellow here? And you could say maybe it's a reference to the original characters, right? Because Fazbear was this yellow character. Even the original Bonnie animatronic was the yellow or oranges character. So this is supposed to symbolize the Aftons, but we've seen all kinds of games where they reference the Aftons, and specifically William Afton is purple. So all kinds of colors.
To which someone on the couch tells him, quote, "Leave him alone, he's had a rough day." Before William goes to someone's room, yells at them to let him in, before he walks outside.
Yeah, see, this is supposed to be William right here. When has William ever been represented as anything other than purple? I guess now.
And sees that whoever was in the room broke the window and went to, quote, "that place again." Now, this is all speculation because most of the stuff in this series is speculation. What are you going to do? It seems to me like this person sitting on the couch is probably William's wife. And although she's never seen in the series again, that's the only character that can make sense here. And the child that he is berating is his only surviving child, Michael. Michael is now terrified by his father and remorseful for the actions that he himself committed that led to the death of Evan. Perhaps whenever William says that Michael is going to that place again, he's referencing Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, because maybe Michael's trying to figure out what happened to his sister. Like I said, that was speculation, but it makes the most sense to me. The core takeaway from it is that William is now being kicked out of the locations that he helped create by his business partner, Henry. And while Henry was in his right to do so, I mean, he found William with a child scooping animatronic that he built. Like, you can't let that guy keep working around children.
Legit.
Henry becomes paranoid of the idea that William will try to retaliate. During this time, William makes a new animatronic.
Let's see. Audio pause, so people who are just listening look at the screen and note that correction. Note, not that there's anything wrong with listening, just want to make sure you don't get more confused. Hold on.
Retaliate. During this time, William
Henry, not William.
makes a new
This discretion actually matters a lot. We are all mad. You know that, right? We're all mad. You're mad. I'm mad. We are all insane. If you thought that you were a sane person before clicking on this video, just know that you're not. All right? I have a news flash for you. You're insane. I'm insane. We're all insane together. Okay? We have all lost our freaking minds. This FNAF lore is actually that confusing that we're tripping up Wendigoon, of all people. Wendy. This guy, he's getting confused in the middle of recording this.
animatronic.
Poor Wendy. Poor Wendigoon. Honestly, this is what broke him. Of all the things he talks about, all the conspiracy theories he talks about, giants, 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 this is where he gets tripped out.
Animatronic known as the marionette or just the puppet. This puppet is designed for the express purpose of protecting Henry's daughter Charlotte, also known as Charlie. One day, William, perhaps in the midst of a rage towards his business partner Henry, William decides that he is going to take from Henry what William had accidentally taken from himself. Again, as we can see from many games placed throughout.
Hey, Golden Piglin, I appreciate you joining. You're definitely a late alien. You go get some sleep.
Throughout the video game series, one day Charlie is locked outside, to which
Nate's
William
actually
Afton
purple guy,
pulls
it's
up in
obvious.
his vehicle, kills the young child before driving away and leaving her body in an alley.
Now y'all caught me laughing at the worst time possible because you want to crack jokes in chat. This is not the time to laugh, chat. He's talking about murdering a child.
One day, Charlie is locked outside, to which William Afton pulls up in his vehicle, kills the young child before driving away and leaving her body in an alley. Now, normally, the marionette puppet would have stopped this from happening, as it's entirely...
Like, I'm legit smiling because of how stupid that is. Like, the idea of someone just laughing their head off right now. Like, they're just dying. Like, they find this so funny.
Our purpose is to follow Charlie around and protect her. However, during this event, it seems that the puppet was trapped and unable to get to Charlie until it was too late. Eventually, the puppet works its way outside in order to find the young girl, to which whenever the puppet gets there, the deed has already been done. The puppet, unable to do anything else, lies down next to Charlie, to which it seems through whatever supernatural means is filled throughout this narrative, the spirit of Charlie possesses the puppet. Perhaps William killed Charlie outside that day because it was just a moment of opportunity, or perhaps he did it away from the animatronics because at this point 2 of his own children had been killed in the proximity of an animatronic and their soul had been taken into it. And perhaps William killed Charlie outside in order to prevent her from possessing an animatronic. However, despite his efforts, as noted here, the spirit of Charlie now possesses the marionette puppet. I like the idea of Charlie being the first murder victim of William, not only because it matches the story more and it makes the first intentional kill more purposeful, but in the events that follow, The animatronics are only possessed because the puppet attaches that spirit to each animatronic. So in order for any of the victims to possess future animatronics, the puppet has to be dead first. Not only that, but a line that Henry says in Pizzeria Simulator heavily implies that his child was the first victim of William's killing spree.
Not until I undo what he has done and heal this wound. A wound first inflicted on me, but then one that I let bleed out to cause all of this.
Wow. I will admit, that is some pretty strong evidence when you tie what Wendigoon just said in the story to that.
Charlie's death, the restaurant is shut down. A couple years later, it reopens as the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I think it is shortly after the reopening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that the missing children's incident occurs. For those that don't know, there is a mention in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and at the time this was the only lore for the overall series that we ever got, in which a newspaper clipping says that 5 children went missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that's the reason it got shut down. That Freddy Fazbear
that and the smells. I love how he mentioned the smells.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that's
the smells. Yeah, seriously.
The reason it got shut down. That Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that got shut down because 5 children went missing is the current pizza place that I'm talking about in the timeline. And I'll pull the timeline back up in a second to look at, but I want to add the final names to this board first. But in short, we have the original Fredbear's Family Diner, and then we have some restaurants like Circus Baby's Pizza World that open then get closed, and maybe some other projects that we're not told about in the series. But after Fredbear's, we get Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Charlie is killed outside of it, so it is shut down and now reopened. It is shortly after this reopening I think the missing children's incident occurs, and here's why. Whenever you are playing as the security guard, a man by the name of Jeremy Fitzgerald in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, phone guy, or the guy who is giving you the instructional messages over the phone, says that you are at the new reopened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
And over the course of that week, he says that an investigation is taking place.
Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days. I don't know.
Now, we know that the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that week that you're playing as the security guard, take place in 1987.
That $20 paycheck, though. I always trip out when I see that. $20. Did all that for $20. Oh, actually muted it. Oh.
Most people that you're playing as the security guard take place in 1987. Most people say that the missing children's incident happened before the old restaurant was ever shut down. Or in other words, around the same time that Charlie was killed. However, that wouldn't make sense if it's a current ongoing investigation. Think about it. If the children disappeared in 1985 and all that time had passed, why would the investigation now just be starting in 1987? We know that the investigation is not over the bite of 87 because that happens at the end of the work week. Also, to make sure everyone's still in the loop, in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, which takes place after the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I know there's prequels and sequels all over the place. The phone guy in the first game mentions that the old location, the location from Five Nights at Freddy's 2, was shut down due to something known as the bite of 87, in which an animatronic bit out someone's frontal lobe.
For the bite of 87, I know where and when it happens.
Used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the...
I feel like at this point I'm legally obligated every time anyone mentions bite of 87 to just start dancing.
Bite of 87. Yeah.
But I can't dance too hard because I'm not trying to get copyright claimed.
It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
So a lot of people say, oh, well, the investigation that's happening over the course of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is the Bite of 87. But like I said, that happens to Jeremy Fitzgerald, the security guard you play as in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, at the end of the work week. So what is the investigation happening over the course of the week itself? Well, on the 4th night in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the phone guy says there is an investigation happening. On the 5th night, he says that the business is on lockdown. And then finally on the 6th night, he says that you're not even supposed to be here. Someone used one of the yellow suits in the back, and now none of the animatronics are acting right.
Wow.
Okay, so, just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days. I don't hey, keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, especially concerning any previous employees. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
We find out in later installments that what had happened during this time is William Afton donned his spring bonnie or golden bunny suit that he used to wear back in Fredbear's before luring children into the back room and killing them one by one. We don't know William's motives for doing this. Perhaps he was doing it to try to experiment on the same conditions that caused 2 of his children to possess animatronics, or perhaps it was just an evil bloodlust that set in after the now death of 3 children in his life, one of them directly murdered by him. Either way, 5 children were killed, and it seems that in order to cover his tracks, William stuffed their bodies inside of the animatronics in the building itself. I believe that this missing children's incident, or in other words, the murder of 5 children, occurred immediately before Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And that is the investigation Phone Guy's referring to which at the end of the week he says someone wore one of the yellow suits and now none of the animatronics are acting right. It's even mentioned at this Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that they trashed the old animatronics and got brand new ones in, known as the toy animatronics. And those old ones seem to be a perfect place to store the bodies of his victims. Remember earlier how I said the Midnight Motorist minigame is believed by most to occur during Five Nights at Freddy's 2? And the reason William isn't
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yo, Sleep, welcome to the chat. I appreciate you joining the stream. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and get some sleep. I am blown away right now. And also, I'm confused at William's intentions throughout this story. I'm so confused at what William's goal is. He, as a character, I feel like he's constantly has his foot in the realm of, I'm doing terrible things for a just cause for me, and I have like this ultimate goal that is awful, and I'm willing to put everyone through torment for it. And then there's a level of, I'm just killing people for sport because it's fun. And I don't know where William's at. I feel like he has a foot in both worlds right now.
allowed back into the building is because he would have just murdered 5 children? Well, the reason I don't think that's the case is because if you go all the way back to the first game, and again, read the newspaper clipping about the missing
Why is Speed Vanny? What is this about Speed being Vanny?
Children's incident, it says that the suspect who wore the costume has been identified and...
Stop simping for Moondrop, Speedy. No, you always simp for the worst people. Why? Why, Speedy? Why?
Apprehended. Of course, he was never convicted because they couldn't find the bodies. I don't know why they never checked the reeking animatronics, but that's besides the point. So if Midnight Motorist takes place during the investigation of the children that William had murdered, which, keep in mind, during the course of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, all happened in the span of about a week, there is no way William would have got to the pizza restaurant and been turned away because he currently would have been in police custody. And also, I know this is being like super hypercritical of specific story moments, which doesn't always work, but I still think it's kind of weird. If William had just murdered 5 children, and this isn't like debatable if he murdered 5 children, this is he was identified and arrested and they just can't find the bodies to convict him. But it's known by everyone around that William killed those kids. I think him, when he's supposed to be in police custody, coming to the door of the restaurant and then the bouncer being like, hey, you shouldn't be around here. Doesn't that seem like a very like low power push off to a guy who just murdered 5 kids?
For real. The general reaction is so bad. Like, why is that reaction so tame? Like, why? Why are they being so tame to this literal child killer?
In your restaurant? That sounds much more like William was doing some shady stuff and accidentally killed his own daughter and got kicked out. Not he murdered 5 kids like last week. And again, he should be at police custody at this point. Midnight Motorist happens before the death of Charlie, not during Five Nights at Freddy's 2. You can fight me about it. We find out these names from a point later in the series, but the 5 children who were killed by William Afton during the incident were Gabriel, Fritz, Susie, Jeremy, and Cassidy. And those children were placed into the bodies and subsequently possessed Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and Fredbear, respectively. Now, it's not known if William put the bodies into the animatronics, or that's indicated in the puppet minigames throughout the series, that the puppet, now being possessed by Charlie, went through and attached each of those children to the animatronics themselves. Or more specifically, we know that the puppet was responsible for giving life to these kids. We don't know if that means some more spiritual or metaphorical action, or if the puppet took the murder victims and placed them inside of the animatronics. Either way, the bodies couldn't be found because the bodies of the children were inside of the animatronics themselves. Again, we don't know if the puppet or William did that.
So
like
gross.
I said, according to my timeline, this
So
happens
gross.
immediately before the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So the reason that the animatronics are trying to kill the security guard, Jeremy Fitzgerald, in that game is because 5 of them are possessed by
literally not human. Literally, that's my face right now. Meanwhile, y'all are in here. I didn't even notice y'all were in here simping. What is this? The chat is on an entirely different timing. Y'all not surprised at all. Y'all don't care at all that all this is happening. I'm over here freaking mouth wide open, blown away by the information I'm receiving. And I look at chat and Speedy out here ready to risk it all for Moondrop. Oh, Speedy. Speedy. Amogus Bean? Is that what you want to hear? Amogus? What's up, Brownie Wolf? Welcome to the stream.
By the spirits of
Amogus?
children murdered by William
Amogus?
Afton. As we see in several of the flashback minigames,
The whole
William
chat
Afton
is sus.
depicted as a purple figure, also known as Purple Guy, wearing a security badge. So it's more than likely that William gained access to the restaurant and was able to kill these kids.
This is why I don't want to be mod.
And don the Spring Bonnie suit because he pretended to be a security guard and wore the purple security guard vest. This would explain why 5 children who have recently been killed try to kill the first person they see wearing a purple security uniform. The phone guy phone calls that I've mentioned are pretty much the only way that the character gets any world or lore relevance for the first couple games. At the end of the night 6 phone call, phone guy tells Jeremy, again the security guard that you're playing as, that he has one job left to do before the restaurant closes down for a while. That job is he has to watch over a children's birthday party the next day and make sure he wears his purple security uniform and stand very close to the animatronics.
We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform, stay close to the animatronics, and make sure they don't hurt anyone.
This causes the event on the final day of the restaurant's opening, known as the Bite of 87. in which one of the animatronics bites Jeremy Fitzgerald, ripping out his frontal lobe. This, as you can imagine, was very bad PR for the company, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shut down at the time for good. And then on the 7th night, the final night of
the true bite of 87. The true bite. I know when it happened. Alright, no, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I need to stop grooving every time that come on. Charlie, CG5 knew what he was doing when he made that song, for real.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is opened. A new security guard comes in to work only one night by the name of Fritz Smith. Fritz is never mentioned anywhere else in the timeline, although it's weird that in a restaurant where people are actively dying due to the animatronics, some random guy would come in to work one night. For reasons I'm going to explain later, I believe Fritz Smith is an alias for Michael Afton, who is now out and trying to find answers to his father's wrongdoings. The last thing I want to mention before I put the timeline back up is that if you'll notice here, Cassidy is said to possess Fredbear. But if you'll also look up here, Evan...
I was hoping he would address this. I was hoping this whole time that he would address this because, like I mentioned before, we are all insane, right? We're already all insane. But I was not trying to get, like into another reality type of insane. Like, I wasn't trying to lose my whole brain today. I just needed him to explain how it's possible for Evan to be possessing Fredbear and also Cassidy. That's just all I wanted to know.
Is also possessing Fredbear. All the animatronics in the series that have been possessed can move around on their own free will except for Fredbear. The primary belief for this is, if you'll remember, the Fredbear costume is both a costume and an animatronic. So if you were to have it set on costume mode and just laying in a corner and someone's to possess that, they can't move and are essentially stuck inside of a decrepit mascot uniform. Whereas all these other ones who are possessed are functioning animatronics and are able to move about on their own free will. In the Five Nights at Freddy's...
I don't know if that's still, I'm still struggling. I'm still mentally struggling. I'm still struggling on how they're both possessing Fredbear. I don't feel like that was really touched on all the way. That aspect wasn't touched on. What he touched on is why it would struggle to move, and the rest of them are okay with moving. That's what he explained. I didn't hear a good reason for why or how both entities are just in one Fredbear, but Golden Freddy is not Fredbear. Okay. Is that where I'm getting this messed up? Moondrop is mid? Oh, come on now, Finn. What? I'm over here trying to understand the story. And y'all over here rating Moondrop? Why is Moondrop getting taken strays? I don't get it. Why is Moondrop getting strays? And why aren't y'all talking about Sundrop? Nobody cares about Sun. What's wrong with Sun? Mid Moondrop. All right, I'm out of here. I'm done with y'all.
Survival Logbook. Yes, that's a real phrase I just said out loud. Without going into all the specifics, it seems that there is a conversation taking place between two hidden authors on the pages themselves. For example, there will be faded text asking, "Do you remember your name?" and then responses written in the text elsewhere in the book. It's two people having a conversation with each other, and without going into the nitty-gritty of how this was determined, because again, it was a lot. By the way, I didn't mention this enough earlier. Big shout out to Game Theory, also known as Matt Pat. Like, I understand he has also done the thing I mentioned where people get hyper-focused on the details and forget the story, but none of this would be possible without the amount of work and research that guy and his community has done.
Literally, this entire FNAF lore thing and it being so massive the way it is, you can almost directly see where Game Theory had an influence on it. And I remember, I didn't care about FNAF until I watched a single game theory episode. It might have been the first ever video, but when I watched that game theory episode about FNAF, it blew my mind and it made me want to check out the rest of what FNAF had to do. Like everything. It almost like opened up a world into FNAF that no one else was touching on at the time.
To figure out all of this information to the point where a lot of the flippant facts that I'm giving you wouldn't be known
William
if it wasn't
Afton
for his videos. So, gotta respect.
Oh, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is so good too. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is amazing. And the theories behind the show are amazing too. Now that is something I got creeped out at. YB said, both of them possessing Golden Freddy is like a haunting house / poltergeist situations, kinda. Okay, so in other words, because it's like a host. Okay. I think I get where you're coming from now. I think I'm understanding it a bit more. It's almost like you have a host and the host can have multiple entities in it, I guess. Similar to like a haunted house. That would make sense too, just considering that the animatronic body itself isn't it's made. It's a man-made structure. So if it's just a structure and it's hosting multiple entities, I guess that's possible.
Respect your forerunners that came before you. So again, thank you, Matt Pat. But due to work
Brownie Wolf, I read your messages. Maybe your other ones got blocked, but I see that one.
Mostly done by him, it is determined that there are 2 souls possessing the Fredbear animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 souls being Cassidy and Evan, as mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And also they can't move. They're just stuck in a suit talking to each other. So that's, pretty sad. All right, so just to recap everyone.
That's crazy.
Make sure we're on the same page. 1970, William and Henry start Fredbear's Family Diner. In the 80s, the business expands into several restaurants.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Brownie Wolf. I see you, though.
In 1983 is when the events of FNAF 4 happened.
Not a Human, you want me to stream Fortnite tomorrow? I definitely want to return to Fortnite. We need to get more W's. I'm still grinding out the Orochimaru challenges and the Itachi challenges, which I feel like I may never even get, but I'm trying my best to grind those out. So I don't know when we're going to do another Fortnite stream, but we definitely need to bring it back because I love it.
Where Michael kills Evan using the mouth of the Fredbear animatronic, and all of the nightmares that Evan have take place during that time. Because of this, William builds the Circus Baby animatronic with the intention to kill and kidnap a child. And I say both in 1983, they were probably in the same year, maybe 1984, whatever. So in 1983, Circus Baby kills Elizabeth. And shortly after that, the events of Midnight Motorist take place, where Henry kicks William out of the business. Okay. This causes William to get angry and Henry to get paranoid. So Henry builds the puppet to protect Charlie, or Charlotte, as I have said here, to which William then kills Charlie, and the puppet is possessed by the spirit of Charlie. Because of that, Fredbear and Friends shuts down, and it's later reopened probably around 1985, sometime between 85 and 87.
It was reopened in 1987 since the restaurant was only open a few weeks, according to the FNAF 2 newspaper announcement.
And it's reopened and rebranded as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. New animatronics are brought in to take the place of the old ones. This is
Thank
around
you for
the same
joining
time
your
that
Galaxy
the
Boy.
Missing Children's incident occurs right before Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So the bodies of the children from the Missing Children incident, either by William or the puppet, are stuffed into the old animatronics, which leads directly into the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. At the end of that week, the Bite of 87 occurs, which is when during the day shift, one of the animatronics bites Jeremy Fitzgerald's frontal lobe out, technically not killing him because it's mentioned in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 that someone can live without a frontal lobe.
Yeah, he survived.
But that doesn't mean he lived well or for very long afterwards. I have spring lock failures mentioned here. That doesn't mean directly in 1987. Whenever we get to Five Nights at Freddy's 3, there's a mention on one of the recorded tapes that one of the restaurants was shut.
I appreciate you, Not a Human. You definitely contributed to the stream quite a bit, so thank you for joining. Thank you for all your all the things you added. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Hello, Riley. Welcome to the stream, Lockdown Gamer. At Nate Allen, Lockdown Gamer said, but did you question that how a bear that can move its mouth up and down, then how to destroy Evan's brains? I don't know what you're trying to say, Lockdown. I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm just going to come out there and say I don't know. What I will say is that they definitely have explained that the spring locks just shut. They just shut immediately. They clamp down. And when that happens, the clamp is very, very hard. I don't know if you've ever experienced any kind of metal or machinery or whatever that has a spring lock or some kind of contraption to it. But a lot of times when they clamp with all of its force. Okay? And there's no opening it back up usually after it clamps. Okay, you're just locked in there. So I can imagine that amount of force can destroy someone's brain. I'm imagining can probably destroy someone's head. Michael canonically has, or at least seen, the nightmares too, because in the survival logbook, he drew Nightmare Fredbear under recent dreams. That is a very, very interesting detail, Dev.
Down for
Oh, Kiwish Bond says, my birthday is tomorrow. Hey, happy birthday, early birthday. If you tune in for the stream tomorrow, which I will be streaming tomorrow, I'm not sure what time. It'll probably be around now. Tune in so I can say happy birthday.
having several spring lock failures.
After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the system temporarily unfit for employees.
And then finally, on the final night,
I hated that high. I hated that little high just now. That little high literally put shivers and goosebumps all across my arms, yo. That little high was bone chilling.
that the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is opened, Michael comes to work as the night guard on night 7 under the alias of Fritz Smith before he is fired when the place is shut down. You good? Did that all make sense? We good?
Yeah, we're actually good.
Because now I'm on to the first game. No, I'm not kidding. We're now ready to talk about the original Five Nights at Freddy's. Do you see why this is so confusing? People give creators like MatPat and stuff a hard time for this. But like, if you were in it whenever this was happening, you had to just totally guess about everything I just said because we got rough hints and newspaper clippings as to what happened. Like, yeah, a lot of the theories got kind of ridiculous and out there, but man, there was so much we were filling in the gaps for. So now we are finally to the events of
Salter, you keep catching me in 4K, bro. You keep catching me.
Five Nights at Freddy's 1, occurring in 1993. In it, a security guard by the name of Mike Schmidt gets a night job at the reopened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So last time, I'll go through the restaurants, at least for now. We had Fazbear's Family Diner, which is the one where Evan got his head chopped and then that shut down. We had Fredbear and Friends, which is the one where Charlie was murdered outside of, and that got shut down. We then had Freddy Fazbear's Pizza open, which is where 5 children were murdered, and 1 security guard had the front part of his...
Oh, man. Fazbear, Freddy Fazbear's Entertainment, overall as a company, had to have been going through the worst stages of its life cycle ever. Like, this has got to be one of the worst brands to ever be created. Ever. This many controversies at each of your locations.
His brain taken out, and that was shut down. And now finally we have Freddy Fazbear's Pizza reopening and Michael working as the security guard. The reason I'm so confident in saying that Michael is Mike Schmidt is because, for one, Mike's name is Mike. And also, in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Five Nights at Freddy's 1, whenever Fritz and Mike are fired, on the pink fire slip, it says that they were fired due to odor. While this probably started out as just a joke in the first one, I think it is enough of a clue in to tell us that this is the same person. And also, it makes the most sense for a storyline, Because if these guys aren't Michael, then in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, some random guy showed up for one night to fight for his life against animatronics and then never showed up again. And then in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, you have a guy who is almost being murdered by animatronics every night he's working there, but then comes back to work the next day. It only makes sense to me if this is Michael who is braving these horrors in order to try to right his father's wrongs, or at least figure out what happened to his father. It's like Chekhov's gun. It would be completely pointless to introduce two characters who never show up again and have no other plot relevance when you can have one character fill both of those roles and make the story more meaningful. Anyway, it's mentioned by Phone Guy in the original Five Nights at Freddy's that they took the animatronics from the FNAF 2 location, the old decrepit ones, and gave them a remodel, and those are now the animatronics they're using on stage.
That's actually very, very scary. Like, it's actually scary to think that the future, or the one that's closest to our timeline, is the first game, right? And I've always said this, and I've always loved this about the first game. I've always loved the fact that it makes sense how aggressive and creepy their demeanor is in that game by that point. If you know the story, if you know how far everything is and everything that's happened, it totally makes sense then in that game why the animatronics are so freaking insanely aggressive and weird on camera.
So, in other words, the animatronics that are possessed by the dead children just got a remodel, and now they're back on stage again. And once again, the reason they are trying to kill you, the player, which is also you, Michael Afton, is because you're dressed in the security uniform of the man that killed them. And probably, since it's Michael, also looks a little bit like him too. I also didn't mention this earlier. There's a lot of people who say William's real tally is like 10 children that he murdered. However, that doesn't show up anywhere in the story, and the main reason they say that is so all of the animatronics that try to attack you in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the toy animatronics and the old ones, are all possessed, so that would make sense. However, it's mentioned by the Phone Guy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 that the toy animatronics...
And Leo, this video is sponsored by Fazbear Entertainment. Could you imagine?
Animatronics have a facial recognition system that is connected to a criminal database so that they will be able to alert anyone or know if there's any predators among the children. At least that's what Phone Guy says, who's to say they can't also attack people linked to that database. And since the puppet was there at Five Nights at Freddy's 2, remember the one that started all of this, and we know that the puppet can manipulate animatronics, at the very least Charlie put the bodies of the children into the old animatronics so that they'd be possessed. What's to say the puppet didn't change the facial recognition so that they would just kill anyone in a security guard uniform? Again, that would also explain the bite of 87. And, like, especially...
He said it. I know who's responsible for the bite of 87. I know where and when it happens.
When you see where the story goes from here, and very specifically where the story ends, it doesn't make any sense if there's like another 5 children whose souls are just out there somewhere. It makes a lot more sense if the only children Michael killed were Charlie, and then the 5 children at the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location. Also, everyone wants to say in like all the theories I looked at that William killed a bunch of kids down here, I guess because he was in like a silly, goofy mood. Because everyone tries their hardest, and I'm not talking about anyone specifically, this is just like the general air from the community. Everyone tries so hard to make this story as one-dimensional as possible and just say, William, bad, he killed kids here, he killed kids again, and that's it. And while, yes, William bad, it is William reason for bad that I think is interesting, and the reason that this story's always intrigued me. His son was killed by his other son using an invention of his own making, and then he lost his mind trying to figure out how his son's soul could be preserved that led to the death of his daughter and then everything afterwards. The story becomes much more interesting when you view this as humans with motives rather than just insert generic bad guy. Kill.
What was I saying before? What was I saying? I was telling you that my thing with this story was trying to understand William Afton. Like, I've been struggling so much trying to understand him, because I don't think this is a case of he's just evil. Like, I don't think it's just that. I think that his brain was broken at some point. I really do believe that him seeing his own creations basically kind of destroy his meaning and his purpose for life, I feel like that really broke him. I think that it really changed his outlook on life in general, and I think that it may have drove him insane.
Child on to scene 2. Anyway, so the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 takes place, in which you can see the 4 animatronics, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Freddy coming to kill you, as well as apparitions of Fredbear.
Illumin, and welcome to the stream.
Whenever you take into account that Evan could be the spirit inside of Fredbear, it becomes much more impactful whenever Fredbear says, "It's me," to Michael Afton. Because that is Michael's younger brother, who he killed, pointing out to him.
Holy crap. That makes so much sense.
"It's me," over and over again before killing him in his office. At least, if you lose the game. But during this entire time, William is released by the police. Again, they have the camera footage of him being the last one seen with the children, but they can't find the bodies and can't pin anything on him. So shortly after the events of the first Five Nights at Freddy's, William goes to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in order to cover up his evidence. This is the flashback games that we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where William goes into the restaurant and begins disassembling the animatronics. Now we find out later in Sister Location that he took pieces of those animatronics and then rebuilt them into the framework of the Funtime animatronics. If you'll remember, Circus Baby was one of those, which was this private collection he had made. And now he is...
Speedy, why do you keep trying to get me to cuss? Speedy. I'm not going to say that word. Instead, I'm going to say, holy crap. Look, okay, I want to be that one YouTuber that will watch some of the craziest stuff, will see people cussing, will listen to music that is all kinds of cussing, has no problem with cussing, like when it's presented in front of them, but just doesn't cuss on camera. I want to be one of those YouTubers, okay? That way, when I do finally cuss on camera, it's going to mean so much more, okay? It's going to mean so much more. It's going to have a ripple effect. Everyone's going to be like, whoa, Nate Alyn finally said something crazy on camera, okay? Does that make sense? I'm building things up, all right? I don't have a problem with cussing. I really don't. I listen to music with some of the worst things in general in the music. It's just that, for one, I do have family members who watch me that are younger, and I love them. Shout out to my niece and my little sister. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, you get it. I don't want to cuss for them. I love them, and I don't want them to hear me cussing. It just is what it is.
Disassembling the animatronics that are possessed by the spirits of the children he killed and reassembling them into these animatronics of his own creation. We know that this has to take place after Five Nights at Freddy's 1, because in those flashbacks he completely destroys the original 4 animatronics. And before the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 5, also known as Sister Location. Because in Sister Location, all of the old animatronics have been reassembled by William into these new Funtime animatronics. And based on how these flashbacks end, there's no way he could have done that after the flashbacks. It had to be during. Because at the end of this minigame, we see the souls come out of the animatronics that William had been disassembling and attack William himself. Within the ruins of the derelict Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, William becomes frightened and decides to hide inside of the Spring Bonnie suit. However, if you'll remember, these suits are designed so that the animatronic components can be twisted to the sides in order to make room for someone to step into the costume. However, there is a mention.
Here we go. Here we go. This is the best part. And I've said this. This is going to be, for those who haven't watched, my theory on what happened.
In the series,
here we go.
If these suits get old or wet,
there
is a chance of
any kind of moisture.
Failure.
Any kind of moisture. So he got scared, right? This is my theory. This is the official Nate Allen theory. He got scared, okay? He got in a suit, and then he peed himself. He peed himself in the suit, and then it killed him. That's my theory. I think he peed himself. I think that's why they told us about the they told us about the wet. Honestly. I don't feel like they would have told us that if that didn't make sense. Okay? Now you could say that he could sweat. He could have just been sweating, but I feel like the sweat wouldn't trigger that. I feel like he probably peed himself.
Or in other words,
that's my theory.
The animatronic components shooting back into place while someone is still wearing it. So as William puts on the old suit in order to shield himself from the children,
yeah, he chilling. Boom. Done. Lord, that was gruesome. Even for an 8-bit style freaking animation, that was gruesome.
He is killed by a spring lock failure, and as the spirits of the children he murdered slip away, William bleeds to death in the now abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
I know I'm saying. I know they're saying it's rain. I know about the water drop. I get that. I know. It's easy for us to assume that it was rain, and I know canonically a lot of people would like to believe it was rain because of the drop. Okay? But I like my theory. Alright? I like my theory a lot more, Soul Walter. Okay?
I don't want to take the timeline back down, and I don't even know how much of this you can see whenever I hang it up. But as you can see here, I have William listed on the bottom as Springtrap. Springtrap is the name that people give Spring Bonnie after William possesses the suit, because the rules still apply. If you die inside of a suit or your body's inside of it, you are now the possessed soul who is controlling that suit. So William now exists as one of these derelict souls controlling Spring Bonnie, again known as Springtrap. In events we see later in the game,
that makes more sense.
In control at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza decides to wall up all of the old rooms in the old business locations.
Just to inform all employees that due to budget restrictions, the previously mentioned safe rooms are being sealed at most locations, including this one. Work crews will be here most of the day today, constructing a false wall over the old store basement.
That someone most definitely has to be Henry. So around 1995, William is entombed in the back room of an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, now possessing the suit known as Springtrap. It is at this point that sister location, or Five Nights at Freddy's 5, takes place. The reason it has to happen here is because William dies, or at least stops living, and starts possessing a suit that has his decomposing corpse in it at the end of these Five Nights at Freddy's 3 minigames. So he couldn't have put the spirits of the dead children or components of their suits into the Funtime animatronics after that happened. And because we see him taking apart the animatronics in those minigames, I'm going to say that he disassembled them and then reassembled them into the Funtime animatronics at the same time. So shortly after William dies and gets walled up into a back room in a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Michael decides to go figure out more about what his father was doing. It's there that Michael goes to an underground storage facility that is specifically made for the Fazbear Entertainment rental animatronics. The animatronics that are found down there are the Funtime animatronics themselves, including Circus Baby, which at the time is being possessed by Michael's younger sister, Elizabeth. This is where we get a lot of the information that indicates how Elizabeth died, how the Funtime animatronics were made, and stuff I've already mentioned. So, to very briefly describe the events that happened in Sister Location, the Funtime animatronics are essentially trapped in this underground storage facility and want a way out. So in order to do that, Circus Baby tricks Michael into helping them escape. The way Circus Baby ends up doing this is by bringing Michael to something known as a scooping room, which is where a giant machine is located that pulls out the endoskeleton of animatronics and leaves just the skin present. And this is like, I know we're talking about a series that has to do with children possessing animatronics, and then like
I'll see you later, Six. Thank you for joining the stream.
But this is the most outlandish detail of the story to me, because I can accept all the possessed, haunting child stuff. It's the biology, anatomy, survival rates that I have a problem with. So it seems that the scooping machine scoops Michael, or at least rips a chunk of him out, and then pieces from all of the Funtime animatronics join together in a creature known as Innard. Innard is, like I said, all of the Funtime animatronics together in one collective mass, and Innard enters in to Michael somehow. I guess they say that the scooper like ripped out part of his gut, and then Innard crawled into his gut. I don't know. And then Innard, effectively wearing Michael as a skin suit, wears Michael around until his body can't take it, and then Innard leaves.
Wow.
Now, I know there's explanations in the books that have to do with, oh, well, there's this substance that can keep a spirit alive, and it's called Remnant, and there's all this weird voodoo stuff. They tried to make possession and all that into a science, like something tangible, and I think that's pretty lame, and it's also not in the video game, so I choose to ignore it. But the short version is all the animatronics combine into Innard. A chunk of Michael is ripped out. Innard goes inside of that until Michael's body can't take it anymore, and Innard leaves, but Michael still survives. So effectively, all of the animatronics are now free and roaming around to do whatever they want to do. This is mentioned in the later games, but shortly after Innard escaped from Michael, because remember, Innard's now a collective consciousness of all of the Funtime animatronics. They kicked out Elizabeth, which is Circus Baby at the time, for some reason. I don't believe it's ever particularly said. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I think it may be because Elizabeth is the daughter of William Afton, the one that killed all of them. So
they're like, nah, you can't join the party. They're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. You're the daughter of our killer. No, you can't sit at the table. I'm sorry.
They're not particularly fond of that. Either way, Elizabeth, aka Circus Baby, reassembles her original form out of scrap metal and becomes a kind of junk version of herself.
Ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I haven't seen her before, but Lord.
Known as Scrap Baby. Innard, which again is the collective consciousness of all of the children murdered by William, except for the puppet Charlie. We'll get to her in a minute. Decides that the best way to continue survival is to scavenge parts and try to appear as a normal animatronic, or at least a sustainable one. So they do, and Innard converts itself into a creature known as Molten Freddy. And then if you'll look at the timeline,
Molten Freddy.
There is a 30-year gap in time. Like, the events of Sister Location probably happened somewhere around 1995, and then nothing happens until 2023. I don't know of any stories in the series that say they killed anyone during this time period, but having like a collective conscience...
Oh, well, let me read this. Sister Location could take place anywhere within this 30-year period. The context clues just suggest that Fazbear Entertainment is still renting out animatronics, implying the date is far removed from Fazbear and Fright and Henry's brand reset with Pizzeria Simulator.
Just of murdered children.
Devin Santiago said, yeah, I don't think there's a specific reason as to why they kicked her out. Her being William's daughter, so they kick her out makes sense, though. Yeah, exactly. It's all pretty speculative at the end of the day. Like, everyone's kind of putting their own, what they believe motivations are for some of these decisions in the story. But honestly, it's really anyone's guess.
Children roaming around the sewers is probably a bad thing. And it becomes an especially bad thing whenever in 2023 when the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 3 happens. See, by the year 2023, everything that happened on this...
I heard I saw that the One Piece, the mobile game or something, I guess the team behind it used Charlie's likeness to record some fake ad. I saw that. I heard. That's wild.
This side had become a local folk legend. It became a big story of, oh, here's the abandoned pizza place where all those children were murdered. So they took an abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and remade it into a spooky horror attraction known as Fazbear Frights, where at the attraction they get a bunch of old Fazbear Entertainment merchandise and hang it up everywhere in order to give the whole creepy abandoned pizzeria vibe. This is all well and good until the phone guy says that they recovered a full animatronic that was locked up in one of the walled off back rooms.
But I have an even better
Oh man, I remember this too. Oh Lord.
surprise for you. You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one.
And sure enough, that animatronic they found was William Afton, still alive and possessing the animatronic that is carrying his own corpse that for the past 30 years has been stuck in a walled-off room. So the people at Fazbear Frights think this is a great find and decide to set it up as part of the attraction, and that's where bad things happen. Michael gets the security position at Fazbear Frights, again trying to figure out what's going on. Keep in mind 30 years have passed too, so at this point he's a fully
Turtle said the back rooms. It's all connected.
grown man who's determined to figure out what his dad did.
Father, it's me, Michael. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.
Oh no.
I'm going to come find you.
And throughout the
Oh
course
no.
of Five Nights at Freddy's 3, we get the full
Oh no. Oh no.
story of what happened to William Afton and how he came to possess the Springtrap animatronic, yada yada. Until on the final night of this Fazbear Frights location, it seems that Michael tries to burn
Yeah, the R Rasp is not here. I see your message. Hello. Welcome.
down the building with his father in it. However, it doesn't
The voice sounds like he has autotune. Not any kind of autotune I want. I know what you mean though, like the effect on his voice. But yeah,
work, and William manages to get free after 30 years of being locked up. So now by the year 2023, we have William, who is running around as the animatronic Springtrap. We have Molten Freddy, which is the collective conscious of all of the children William killed, again, except for Charlie. We have Charlie as the puppet, also running around doing God knows what. And we have Circus Baby,
What's up,
who was
Rasp?
kicked out of Molten Freddy and is now existing as her own animatronic. So this is probably bad, having all of them run around doing their own thing, especially now that William's free to do whatever he wants. And it seems that Henry, who at this point has been quiet for a pretty good while in the story, has decided that he's going to do something about it. So Henry opens up a brand new restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Opening a restaurant under a title that up until this point, as seen by Fazbear Frights, has some pretty bad blood attached to it. However, Henry doesn't care, and it seems he's just starting another pizza restaurant, to which Michael is immediately hired as security guard. As soon as the restaurant is opened, old animatronics start to show up in the back alley of the restaurant.
There is another aspect to your end-of-day routine, and that is inspecting and salvaging any animatronics found in the alley outside the back door. Things are found here quite often, and while we aren't sure why, what we do know is that they can be used for parts, which can mean a much-needed revenue boost before starting your next day.
So these those videos, I remember watching part of those years ago. I wanted to do a video where I just watched all of those. Like I don't know how many of those exist, but I want to do a video where that's all I did was just react to all of those, because I heard that they're really, really good and they're well made. And honestly, after watching that back, they really are. Like, that voice acting is great, and the overall scene in that, the way it's depicted, is just so eerie and on point.
These animatronics include Circus Baby, Molten Freddy.
What's
and
up, Jedi? Welcome to the stream, Jedi Wolf. Good to see you, bro.
Crab, who
Oh, and Mel. Welcome to the stream, Mel.
at the time to all the other workers just seemed to be old, decrepit animatronics.
Catch all up on kind of what's been... Oh, look, FNAF, Return of the Jedi. That's funny. Jedi Wolf, you stepped in the right time. Okay, this section of the video is about you. No, what you missed so far is you basically just missed my brain being blown by multiple things that Wendigoon is kind of strung together here. Also, I called the entire chat insane. We've all acknowledged that we've all lost our minds long ago, and that's the reason why we're all here. And yeah, we're continuing to lose our minds over this lore.
That it seems somebody threw out or left behind the restaurant in case the restaurant wanted them. As the player, you have the choice in this game, which we're now to Five Nights at Freddy's 6, by the way, of what animatronics you want to bring into the restaurant and put in storage, and which ones you want to throw back outside.
I remember
While you
that.
may have the ability to do what you want, in order to get the correct or full ending of the story, you have to bring all of the animatronics into the building. The game also heavily suggests to you that the purpose of what you're doing is to salvage all the animatronics.
I don't know how those tiny breaths of life came to inhabit those machines.
Frost Knight, you forgot the chat where the part where chat was simping over Moon. Yeah. Speedy was simping over Moondrop.
But they will never find rest now. Not
And then Soul Alter, I think, called Moondrop mid, or someone called Moondrop mid, and it turned into an all-out war. And then I said, where's the love for Sundrop? And no one agreed with me.
like this. I have to call them all back, all of them, together in one place.
It seems that the animatronics are interested in whatever it is Henry's doing and have each
Not
made
a
their
human
way
welcome
to the
back.
pizzeria one by one. Henry created the pizzeria as essentially bait in order to lure all of them back in. That is, except for one animatronic that Henry knew would not be
Oh, it wasn't you, Soul Alter? Someone said Moon is mid. I don't know who it was. It might not have been Soul Alter, but someone said Moon is mid.
interested in falling into a trap, and that is the puppet, which is possessed by his own daughter, Charlie. To take care of her, Henry built an animatronic known as Lefty, an animatronic built with the sole purpose of catching the puppet animatronic. Again, if you didn't know about all the story or everything happening before, that's like a really weird detail in the later games. But again, here it makes sense because he's trying to get all the animatronics under one roof, and he knew that the puppet would probably be resistant to it, so he made an animatronic specifically to catch her. And then on the final night of the pizzeria, as Michael is being attacked by the animatronics, Circus Baby begins to tell Michael of how she's going to kill him.
You played right into our hands. Did you really think that this job just fell out of the sky for you?
Holy
No.
crap.
This was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place, just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy. Watch. Listen.
No, I'm good.
And be full.
Before she is cut off by Henry, now making his presence known. And you know what? Rather than describing what happens next, I'll just let you hear for yourselves.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize...
Yo! Welcome to the stream, Viberly. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
...that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors,
I remember this.
Be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
And with that, we have the end of the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Yo! I forgot how intense that whole speech was. I completely forgot how intense it was, man. Holy crap.
Almost. See, there's one extra game in the series, known as Ultimate Custom Night, and from any outsider looking in, it looks like just a bonus mode. It's just one night, and you can choose...
You can't be playing with me like that, Wendigoon. I heard that static on my left. What is that? What is that, bro?
Any of the animatronics from the series, set them to whatever difficulty you want, and then based on how hard of a difficulty you complete each of the challenges, you're given these kind of goofy cutscenes. It seems just like a fun free play mode, right? Well, every now and then, whenever you're killed by one of the animatronics in Ultimate Custom Night, they give you a kind of threatening message that seems directed to you, the person.
You won't die, but you'll wish you could.
I recognize you, but I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore.
Ooh.
It seems like there's more going on here.
Ooh.
There's a character in the name known as Old Man Consequences. And if you change the settings to where it's just Old Man Consequences that you're going up against, you'll be taken to a sort of pristine lake where you're controlling a sprite that looks like Fredbear, to which Old Man Consequences tells Fredbear, leave the demons to the demons and rest your own soul. It seems like this Ultimate Custom Night is William Afton's personal hell. And not only that, but it is being curated by the spirit within Fredbear. If you'll remember, Evan and Cassie are both within Fredbear itself. And whenever William dismantled all of the animatronics in order to put them into the Funtime animatronics, which eventually became Molten Freddy, it was left very ambiguous if Golden...
Why y'all simping over Roxy? Come on now. Y'all just be finding a new flavor of the month to simp over in chat, huh? Huh. That's what's going on.
And Freddy was among those who were captured. So if it's true that Golden Freddy was not brought into the fold,
I appreciate you joining the stream, Jedi. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Pizzeria and made all of them pass to the other side, that Golden Freddy was exempt from that. Or if Golden Freddy was a part of Ennard and was burned up in the pizzeria, then it seems like both of the souls in Golden Freddy, or one of the souls in Golden Freddy, doesn't want to let go. Now, there's a lot of evidence to say that this spirit that is torturing Michael is the spirit of Cassidy, the other
It's
one
Cassidy.
possessing Fredbear along with Evan. The reason for that is some of the animatronic voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night refer to the one you should not have killed. And that couldn't be Evan because William didn't necessarily kill Evan, Michael killed Evan. However, I really want it to be Evan who's torturing William for eternity. Because not only would that be very poetic, as Evan was the first child dead that started everything, and now he's the last child who's still holding on to torturing his own father, but it also makes the story so much more...
I know I did not just read from Lockdown KA Gamer. You getting called out. Roxy, choke me, mommy. I'm done. I should just end stream. I should just end. I'm done with y'all. I'm freaking done with y'all.
more personal that Evan, who was forced to live in this hell over and over again, because as his father said, he put him back together, is now forcing his father to endure what Evan and so many others had to endure as well. Either way, the spirit within Fredbear is still holding on and forcing William to endure their own torment rather than passing on to the other side. And if you manage to complete Ultimate Custom Night on nearly the hardest difficulty, you get a final end screen of Fredbear just sitting there, twitching as the camera fades out. Is this a representation that Fredbear is going to continue to fight and torture William for time infinite, or is the fading away symbolic of Fredbear finally letting go? Who's to say? But what I will say is that completes the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline.
Cool.
Probably, maybe. A lot of this was guesswork and speculation, but that's pretty much on par for the series.
Wow.
So my plan was to have...
Hey, Bane, thank you for joining. I appreciate you being in the stream, man. It's been awesome.
Have this video as it is, and then immediately just keep talking and run into the VHS tapes.
What is the static?
My plan was also to make this Five Nights at Freddy's lore section like 20-30 minutes.
Oh, audio static and empty promises. Okay, thank God. Thank God. I was like, holy crap, is he gonna throw in some kind of Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare or something?
And this is not that. So while I normally would just say, oh, I don't care about making a 4 or 5 hour long video, I think it would be a discredit to the creators of the VHS tapes like Squimpus, McGrimpus, and whatnot if I put the VHS tapes now after, what's this going to be, like an hour and a half, 2 hours of video, and then start talking about their content, because their content's really cool and I want to give it the attention it deserves. Not, okay, go watch me talk for an hour and a half and then I'll talk about those guys. And also, a lot of people wanted to see the FNAF timeline or my take on it anyway, so this wasn't like lost time at all. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just upload this video as it is, just like the Five Nights at Freddy's story. And then right after I get done recording this, because I already have all the notes and stuff put together for the VHS tapes, I'm just going to record the VHS tapes and edit the two back to back. So this video will come out and then the VHS tape analysis will come out shortly after. That way the VHS guys get their due respect on the work they put into their projects rather than being at the end of however long this is going to cut down to. And if someone's just interested in the Five Nights at Freddy's story, they can watch this and be done with it. And if they
Chat is unhinged. Chat is wild. This chat is actually wild.
Want to know about the VHS tapes, which if you're interested in this story, I know you definitely will be, they can just go to the next video as soon as it's up, which I will link at the top of the description right below the end. I think that's the safest way to do it. I also think that's the sanest way to do it to keep me from losing my mind, because I've now been recording for about 4 hours, and doing another 2 standing up like this will break my leg, so I think I'll call myself a break. Either way, that was the complete story of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. I intended this to be like a working retrospective for both people who like the series as well as newcomers, and I don't know if anything I said made sense to newcomers. I normally don't say like, oh, let me know in the comments if you blah blah blah, but unironically, if you aren't familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's, let me know if this made any sense. because I don't feel like it did, and I need to course correct myself.
It did, bro. It did. Clap it up for Wendigoon. Clap it up for Wendigo. Nah, man. For real, this did make sense. This made sense. I will say this. I am not new. I am not new to FNAF or the FNAF lore at this point. I've been diving deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. So I'll be honest that my opinion isn't coming from someone that's new to FNAF, but from someone who's been studying this and trying to get an idea of the storyline this entire time. This video was very succinct. I felt like this video did a great job at summarizing the story and the timeline and the intricate and interesting details that align with the story, and just details that I know that you just wanted to fit in because you're Wendigoon, and those are the details that matter to you. So thank you for that. I think that this was excellent.
Goofed. But I think it was like okay, at least as someone who knows the series. But thinking about it now, if you didn't know the series, I bet that was rough. Either way, if you are familiar with the series, and especially if you're not familiar with the series...
Ben, look, okay? I'm not gonna lie. Oh, Jumpy, man, thank you for joining the stream. I appreciate you watching. I have thought about that. I have thought about doing a video where I smash or pass the animatronics. But the only problem with that is, for one, I don't know how to set it up. But two, do y'all really want to watch that? Would y'all really watch that? Would y'all really watch me go through all the animatronics and give my opinion on whether or not I would smash or pass them? Like, it sounds like such a stupid video. But if that is really something y'all really want to see, I guess let me know. I guess let me know in the comment section or online at all. Y'all can message me. You know where to message me and where to find me. Let me know in the comment section. Maybe I'll do a challenge for that, because I don't know. I don't know. And maybe I'll react to someone doing their smash or pass so I can roast them. I don't know. We'll see. It could be an interesting episode.
Series, and you just sat through all of that. I just want to say thank you for watching. Five Nights at Freddy's has always been very interesting to me, because it's such an interesting concept as someone who likes horror. It's like, all right, children were murdered inside of a pizza place and their bodies were shoved into animatronics, and then that's it, survive that scenario. And like, that's what it started out as. Everyone remembers how big the original game got, but then as more came out, like, definitely the hype grew, at least up until Five Nights at Freddy's 3, but as more came out, there were more questions being raised and there were answers given. And like, this is a weird tangent to go on, especially at the end of a Five Nights at Freddy's video. But take a series like Attack on Titan, where there...
Nah, not a human. You need to stop. You need to stop. No, that'll get me in trouble. That'll get anybody in trouble. That also, it'll make things ridiculously weird. No, that is not even happening. Never, ever, 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 ever. Unless I'm doing a live stream and there's literally only one person that joins the live stream and it's my wife in the chat. I'll do a smash or pass on the comment chatters. I'll do it there. If my wife is in the chat, I'll do a smash or pass, because I feel like that is valid. And we all know what she's gonna get.
There was one core question that was being asked, but in the meantime,
I hope if she sees this, she's not disrespected.
They were answering smaller questions that led your way up until you got your big reveal. And I think the biggest mistake of the Five Nights at Freddy's series is that they just kept asking questions and kind of sort of gave answers. The best example of that is, if you'll remember, ever since Five Nights at Freddy's 1, we were asking ourselves, oh, what's the bite of 87? Also, let me clarify, I've been in the community or like speculating about this stuff for years now. So yeah. When I say we, I mean we. So in the first game, we were all wondering, what does the bite of 87 mean? Because we just hear a mention of it, and it's really, along with the newspapers, our only world-building thing that was known in the first game. So we were asking ourselves that for a while, like, what's the bite of 87? What's that? And then when Five Nights at Freddy's 4 comes around, we know that the bite of 87 is someone losing their frontal
Hey,
lobe.
Billy, I appreciate
in
it. Go
Five
check
Nights
it
at Freddy's
out.
4,
That was an amazing episode reacting to Michael Reeves for the first time. I want to dive into his videos again, so there may be a part 2 to that one.
we see a mini game where a kid is placed into an animatronic and the animatronic bites down and crunches his head. So we're like, oh, that's the bite of 87,
which makes
where the meme
sense.
from
We thought.
Markiplier comes in, because he thought the same thing we were all thinking. Like, oh, well, we're looking for someone getting their frontal lobe bit by an animatronic. Here's someone getting their frontal lobe bit by an animatronic. And it turns out the answer was no. That was the bite of 83. That was a different bite that you didn't know about yet until now.
Yeah.
The bite of 87, we're never going to show it in the entire series. Like, I think, like, as someone who was hopefully interested and, like, invested and willing to dedicate time to figuring out what the story was, I did feel a little led on by a lot of details like that. And, like, if you're not familiar with the series, you haven't been keeping up with it.
I feel it too. I was led on too, man. I totally get it.
This story sounds kind of cool. Like, you know, William kills children, then he's forced to be in a creation of his own doing, and then he becomes like this monster. And then that monologue at the end, so cool, where Henry says, "Don't keep the devil waiting, old friend." It speaks for itself. It's so good. Like, when you look at that, it's very satisfying and fulfilling. But when you started here and then did this and they didn't really answer it, like I said, I felt a little led on. So I'm conflicted about the series. Also, because someone's going to ask about this in the comments, what about Five Nights at Freddy's 8 and 9, also known as VR, or also known as Help Wanted and Security Breach? To which I would reply, what about them?
Yeah, thank you.
Those aren't games.
Thank you. Hey, this is where it gets controversial. This is where, look, I thought this was controversial before. He waited all the way to the end. He waited all the way to the end to go mask off.
Those are games that cut off this whole part of the timeline, or said that, oh, well, Henry's plan didn't work, and
let him know,
live so that we can have him in our stupid sequel that doesn't have a story or characters or relevance or working mechanics or anything.
Let him know, Wendy. Let him know.
To justify its existence other than a profit incentive. That's a little too cruel. I'm sure someone who worked on that game cared about what they were doing. But I can assure you that the people who came up with the idea of it did not. Because I hate Security Breach so much. If you like it, good for you. It makes me violent, which is why I'm not talking about it. So,
thank you.
Same with Help Wanted. Help Wanted wasn't as like big of a deal when it came out, and I kind of just wrote it off as pretty much a high budget fan game. But Security Breach was infuriating. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. Yeah, I'm conflicted by the way the story works, and as a fan, it was a little annoying. But now that I can describe the whole thing as that, I feel pretty confident it's that way. Obviously, as always, let me know in the description. I'm tired. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or if I got something wrong.
I love Wendigo, man. I really do.
I just think this works best as a story, and I like the story that it's telling. So yeah, thank you so much to my subscribers. I think we're at 1.155 million, something like that. Like, man, you guys keep on killing it. I'm really like at a loss for words with all these because I don't know what to say because I don't deserve 12, and you've given me over 1 million, and it's a lot, and I appreciate it, and I'm forever grateful. So thank you for that. Thank you to all of my ex-patrons that you can see here. The Patreon is gone now, but these are all the people who supported me, or the top tier patrons that supported me, and thank you to all of my patrons who supported me, who allowed me to get to the spot that I'm at. I'm forever...
Wow, he got rid of his Patreon? How long ago was that?
In your depth, and I appreciate it. And all this is possible thanks to you. Like I said, as soon as I turn off the recording on this, I'm going to send the files over, maybe do some editing, I don't know, and then start the VHS side of this, and then there'll be 2 separate uploads, but the VHS one should be shortly after this one is, so we'll see how that goes. But for now, I believe that should do it. So thank you for watching.
He's gonna yell bye, look.
I hope that you enjoyed.
My favorite thing is when he yells bye.
And I will see you in the next one. Bye. So
I don't know why. I don't know why I love that so much. I have no clue why. Oh man, okay. Hold on, let me bring you back in here, chat. So that was the complete Five Nights at Freddy's story explained by Wendigoon. Man, what a freaking video. Incredible. I'm really enjoying diving into FNAF lore, and I think at this point now, I want to know more weird details about the story. I want to know what kind of other crazy shenanigans and different aspects of the story that I don't know about, that I just completely missed. So the next video might be something diving into an iceberg. I might want to dive into a FNAF iceberg. I also want to react to the FNAF music. I want to react to, well, I'm not even going to sit here and say that I want to react to it, but if y'all get these videos supported enough, there may be a FNAF smash or pass at some point. Maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe. Okay? Maybe. But, look, okay? Look. Alright, y'all hear the music. You know what time it is. Okay? I always say this. What are we here for? I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I sincerely appreciate all of you for tuning in for today's episode of Alien Armada, Episode 8. Speedy, Finn, Husky with the Wono once again, Brownie Wolf, Docile Cat, Nightmare, Not a Human, and Mel, Turtle. I appreciate all of you joining me. Thank you so much for taking a chance on my stream today. This has been an exciting journey for me. I love making this type of content, and I'm having such a great time interacting with y'all live. Please, if you're new and you haven't already, subscribe today and hit the like button so that you're notified whenever I go live with a new episode. I will see everyone. Oh, Lockdown. Lockdown K, the gamer, thank you. Soul Alter, thank you. Delio E, thank you. I appreciate all of you. And I will see everyone in the next episode.